Senator Reid.
Chairman Rand, thank you.
You're welcome. You did it right today.
Yes. Madam Attorney General, on May 16th, the Department of Justice announced that it dropped litigation to enforce the law against forced reset triggers. These are devices that can be installed in a few minutes on guns like a AR-15 in order to match the rate of fire of a machine gun. In fact, according to demonstrations on YouTube and elsewhere, you can dispose of an entire 30-round magazine in about 4 seconds. So it is a fully automatic weapon. In the press release announcing the settlement, you are quoted as saying the settlement, quote, will enhance public safety. How does putting more automatic weapons, which have been against the law since the 1930s, enhance public safety?
Welcome back to America Patriots, the channel where common sense still pays rent and freedom never takes a day off. Before we jump into today's video, listen, Patriots. If you're tired of the government talking in circles, if you like your coffee strong and your Constitution stronger, then hit that subscribe button like it owes you tax money. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and share this video with at least one friend who loves America at least as much as they love barbecue. All right, let's get into this circus.
Thank you for that question, Senator Reid. What that will do, it will enhance public safety by settling the litigation, because it is a guarantee that the manufacturer will not put that in handguns. We settled those cases because it was the right decision under the law. But nothing's comical about this. These devices are materially the same as bump stocks. The Supreme Court said last year that they are not machine guns under federal law. We followed the law. We will continue to follow the law. I'm a career prosecutor. I'm going to do everything in my power to keep Americans safe. What we should be concerned about up here are all the illegal guns flowing into our country by illegal aliens who have been free to walk into our country over the past 4 years. And we've taken thousands of those guns off of the street, including drugs, and including violent criminals.
Excuse me. How can you go ahead and say we are more safe today because they will not put these automatic firing devices in pistols, which have magazines of about maybe 20 rounds at most, or maybe 10, and have a range much less than an automatic weapon? Have you ever fired an automatic weapon?
I have.
Well, you understand then that that's a device that was designed to kill people. It's not a hunting rifle. It's not a target rifle. It's mass fire. And you made a compromise saying, well, don't put them in pistols, but you can go ahead and put them out in automatic weapons.
We followed the law. We will continue to follow the law. You and I clearly disagree on the Second Amendment.
Well, I agree that machine guns are not appropriate in the United States, and since 1930 or so, we've outlawed machine guns. And these semi-automatic weapons that are produced in volume are so easily converted to automatic weapons that it's you're ignoring the reality, frankly.
I'm following the law, Senator.
Well, yes, that's right. By the way, how many American weapons are going to Mexico in a year? What are we doing to stop American weapons going to Mexico to arm their gangs?
Well, we need to support that on both sides.
Well, what are you doing? What are you doing to support it on our side?
We are arresting people who have illegal firearms in our country. We're not sending people back to Mexico with guns. We're throwing them in our jails and
No, you're allowing them to be purchased in the United States and driven across the border. Most of these gangs have completely turn themselves into military organizations because they're using American weapons, American technology, and your argument is that, well, we're not doing anything about then.
No, not my argument. That was the policy of the last 4 years of the Biden administration with open borders. You could come back and forth across our borders. You could buy guns. You could take guns off the street. You could shoot people in our country. You could bring fentanyl into our country. You could bring methamphetamine into our country. You could bring cocaine into our country. That was the previous administration.
No.
Not this
What are you doing to stop the flow of weapons into Mexico?
We are arresting flow of weapons our borders are closed. We are arresting illegal cartels. Sinaloa from Mexico, MS-13 from El Salvador, TDA. We are arresting from Venezuela. ATF has seized over 14,600 guns since Donald Trump has been president. That's a 33% increase from the last administration. And think about that. That's why our borders secure.
Were they coming into?
They weren't doing anything.
Were they coming into the United States?
Our borders are closed. They're not coming in or out of the United States now across Mexico. We've done a 33% increase in firearm seizures. Think about that. Think about that, Senator, from the last administration. 33% increase. And our borders are closed. So we're getting all these guns off the streets that came into our country. And I'm so proud of the work of the men and women in law enforcement.
I don't think you've done anything to severely interrupt the arming of Mexican gangs. Because that's really not what your focus, and I think your focus should be on that. But thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And can I just add one thing? And
no,
because the borders are closed, we are stopping the guns from going to Mexico.
Well, let me ask you another question. If the borders are closed, why do we have a division headquarters of the United States Army in Fort Huachuca and military elements across the board when the borders close and Border Patrol can handle it?
As former military, I would think you would know the answer to that, to keep Americans safe.
No, I think it's to promote the president's policies on the border, and the readiness of our forces is suffering as a result. Thank you.
Senator Britt.
So I just watched this congressional hearing, absolute Oscar-level drama, where Senator Reid tries to have an actual conversation about force reset triggers, and then Pam Bondi destroys the talking points being thrown at her. Now look, force reset triggers. You either know what they are, or you're pretending you do while reading cue cards. And let me tell you, based on that hearing, someone up there was definitely reading cue cards. Senator Reid starts by asking why the DOJ settled the case and how allowing devices that make an AR-15 spit rounds faster supposedly enhances public safety. Reasonable question, right? Ask a question, get an answer. But Pam Bondi? Cool as a Florida gator in the shade. She says, look, we follow the law. Supreme Court ruled last year these things aren't legally machine guns. Whether someone likes that or not, that's the law. And she's right. You can disagree with the ruling, but you can't pretend it doesn't exist. Then Reid basically goes, well, okay, but how does that make us safer? And have you fired an automatic weapon? And she's like, yeah, the answer is still the law. And listen, I gotta respect that. She didn't sidestep. She didn't panic. She didn't invent a new definition of the word. She said, the DOJ followed the rules as written, not as imagined. Now here's where it gets good. Reid tries to pivot into, well, what about guns going to Mexico? And Pam Bondi hits back like, our borders are closed. Our seizures are up 33%. And by the way, we actually arrest people. Folks, I don't care who you vote for. That's a solid answer. And she came with numbers. Not vibes. Not interpretive dance. Numbers. The ATF seized 14,600 guns, 33% more than before. And she actually praises law enforcement. I know, shocking, right? Somebody publicly supporting cops. What a concept. But Reid keeps trying to dunk on the idea that the border is closed, which, look, I get it. Anyone who's driven within 200 miles of the southern cactus in the last decade has questions. But this is politics. Half the time they're arguing about definitions of words the rest of us already know the meaning of. Then he goes, if the border's closed, why do we have military at Fort Huachuca? And Bondi basically tells him politely, sir, you were in the military, you should know why. You could practically hear the bald eagle screeching in the background. As a right-wing patriot, look, here's my take. Red tape and courtroom battles about gun accessories? Not the hill America should be dying on. We got bigger issues. Cartel violence, human trafficking, illegal firearms being smuggled, crime in major cities, and an ATF that needs clarity, not ambiguity. Pam Bondi stuck to the law, didn't cave, and kept her answers tight. She didn't throw gun owners under the bus. She didn't pretend she didn't know what a trigger is. She didn't start lecturing America about things she's never used or touched. Was the conversation messy? Yes. Was it politics? Absolutely. But she held her own, and she did it without yelling, spinning, or tap dancing like half the folks in D.C. who act like they're auditioning for a reality show. And listen, we can talk about firearms safety, responsible ownership, and border enforcement without accusing everyone of being evil. That's how adults operate. That's how patriots operate. That's how America should operate. All right, patriots, what do you think? Was Senator Reid onto something? Did Pam Bondi handle that like a champ? Should Congress be more focused on cartel gun pipelines or on accessories that require a legal dictionary to explain? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. And if you love this country enough to watch C-SPAN voluntarily, you're exactly the kind of American I want subscribing to this channel. Thanks for watching America Patriots. Stay loud, stay proud, and stay free. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.